Please be seated. Good morning again to everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, colleagues. Let me skip the greetings to save time, and let me skip the enumeration of the problems, and I go straight to say a few things about the solutions that we bring. Many of you are very much aware of the effort we are making on the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone. It is one of those solutions to the issue of Nigeria's broken food system and the agribusiness space in general. What does it mean, the SAPZ, as we call it? There are 6 things that I will list very quickly. Number 1, it is, for us, an economic and industrial strategy. The African Development Bank defines SAPZ, the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone, as an integrated demand and supply side agro-industrial ecosystem comprising production, processing, distribution, marketing with a continental and also global reach. It has its origin in the old Special Crop Processing Zone that was started by Dr. Akinwumi Adesina when he was Minister of Agriculture, and strongly supported by this current minister, who has been a pillar behind what we are doing with this. Yes, you can clap for him, because he has been very, very strongly supported, and we have moved very quickly and very far with this program here in Nigeria. Number two reason why we are doing the SAPZ is that it is a spatial solution for rural transformation and sustainable urbanization. If you don't deal with the issues of the rural area, as many colleagues have said, 70% of our small-scale farmers live in rural communities. If we don't deal with that, they keep moving to the cities and they move into slums. There's no job, they have no skills, they have no technologies, they have no connections. So we want to ensure that as a model of the Special Economic Zone, the SAPZ is done in a different way. The SAPZ, as a locational model, is located within farming communities itself. As you know, most economic zones are located near ports, in the cities, in the urban areas. This is a paradigm shift, if I may call it that. So it's a solution to solve the agrarian issue in which we have been stuck for decades. We have to move away from being an agrarian society. There's no pride in saying 80% are employed in agriculture. There are countries where only 2% are employed in agriculture, and they export billions and billions of food to other people. So hopefully the model they are proposing will be one of those solutions. Number 3 reason for the SAPZ is that it's a spatial clustering and agglomeration used as an industrial policy instrument. Now, why am I referring to this? A lot of people, when we say agriculture, what we see is the agrarian society that we've been. What we see is a modernized society and a forced using policy instruments, industrial policy instruments, to force structural transformation, to move agrarian societies into a modern society. I'll give you an example. Asia has 75% of all the 4,046 special economic zones in the world as our 2020 data. China alone has 2,500. That is half of all the zones in the world. Mind you, many of them are actually agro-industrial systems. This is the point. For example, the economy of Vietnam has major concentration of activities in just 2 economic centers, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. They collectively account for 60% of the country's gross domestic product. 60%. They have 376 parks, industrial parks. Almost 80% of them are processing agricultural products. In 2019, Vietnam generated export earnings of at least $3 billion from each of the following commodities: cashew nuts, rice, cassava, fish, coffee, tea, black pepper, and rubber, Total agricultural export revenue, 2019, $40 billion. That is all Nigeria got from oil. This is why we are promoting a concentration of companies within geographic locations, particularly forcing the rural communities to modernize. South Korea has 900 industrial zones. Half of them are agro-processing zones. Agro-processing zones. These industrial complexes, again, they generate close to 50-60% of Korea's GDP and almost 70% of their foreign direct investment. Number 4, SAPZ, we believe, will stimulate investment in infrastructure, particularly in these underserved areas of our countries. I won't say too much on that. Number 5, it is a catalyst for private sector development. We, as government, and this minister is supporting, they can enable the zones to be built. But at the end of the day, the success of a particular zone is how many companies you are able to attract to those zones. So in other words, we are working very closely with private sector actors, and we are inviting them into these zones even now. We are going to the board on October 8th with the first set of 8 locations in Nigeria. There are 8 locations in Nigeria, which the Ministry of Agriculture is actually the executing agency. 2, one in Kano, another in Kaduna, one in FCTA, one in Kwara, one in Ogun, one in Oyo, and one in Imo and Cross River State. All of them are doing different things. And we hope that by next year, and I want to thank all our supporters, all our partners, IFAD, AfDB, many of them are in this room here, and we're going to be working together to ensure that we start this year. We are going to start implementation this year. So to sum up, what distinguishes the countries that succeed from those that had failed is that all of them diversified their economies. They added value to what they produce. Nobody survived by simply just producing and exporting raw material to other countries. It won't go anywhere. Vietnam takes almost 80% of our cash. They process and they gain more from it. I believe that Nigeria and all the countries that have been suffering from this very unsustainable pathway to development, we have learned our lesson from COVID-19. COVID-19 has taught us a big, big lesson. The idea of relying on oil is a mistaken development agenda, and we need to industrialize agriculture. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate you joining us this morning.
Honourable Minister for Agriculture, Alhaji Mohamed Sabo Nanono, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please, for the sake of time, do allow me to stand on existing protocol. I'm honoured to have been invited to give these remarks alongside a distinguished and extraordinarily knowledgeable panel of speakers. The Department for International Trade has been working closely in partnership with Agro Nigeria on this summit agenda. We at the British High Commission here in Abuja are delighted to support them. The theme for this year's summit, post-COVID, a repaired food system pathway to a revived economy, is fundamental to Nigeria's stability and its future. We've seen the impact of COVID-19 globally and in Nigeria on the economy, on food security, nutrition, and of course on health. This is a big and complex issue. Ensuring adequate nutrition security and a healthy diet continues to be a significant challenge in Nigeria. And this is now compounded by the lasting effects of reduced fiscal space and economic growth. It's also an area where I'm proud to say the UK government has provided significant support and technical assistance. We are an active member of the National Council for Nutrition and its technical advisory group. We supported the government under the leadership of the Ministry of Budget and National Planning and the Vice President's Office in developing a multi-sectoral plan of action for food and nutrition. And we contributed to plan and roll out national dialogues for the Food Systems Summit as members of the core group in Nigeria. Through our nutrition programs in several states, we contributed to developing models for sustainable nutrition and reaching millions of children, pregnant women and mothers with life-saving treatment and preventative interventions. Many of you will know that agriculture accounts for about a quarter of Nigeria's gross domestic product, and it's an absolute key pillar of food systems here. We see major opportunities for supporting business-to-business partnerships, which can also benefit the wider economy and, of course, fundamental food security. Our Department for International Trade is supporting UK companies who wish to invest and trade with Nigeria, and agriculture is a centre of great interest. There's a long-standing partnership between the UK and Nigeria. UK aid has helped Nigeria's agricultural sector significantly over the last 20 years, supporting more than 1 million individuals, increasing their income across Nigeria over the last 5 years, with projects recently in the north and in the Delta. Addressing the risks of accelerating climate change has become a core part of agricultural support work. We're seeing increased heavy rains causing flooding, but also increased drought and desertification. These twin challenges are a critical nexus for Nigeria, and have resulted in decreased yields, productivity, and our work is seeking to address these. I'd like to share briefly a few examples of our UK support. The UK has funded development and the use of drought-resilient flood and higher-yielding seeds for rice and maize, and higher vitamin sweet potato. It's also researched the deployment and is now supporting the commercialisation of AfloSafe, a natural fungus which reduces the amount of toxins in food. We've supported the use of solar irrigation, saving diesel, and solar dryers, reducing food waste, an area where UK technology companies are strong, and the use of alternative organic fertilisers, especially in the northeast. As well as needing to adapt to climate change, agriculture is unfortunately a major emissions producer, in particular producing methane, which is 10 times more damaging in the short term than carbon dioxide. Rice growing globally emits more than aviation. Nigeria has just published its commitments for the upcoming COP26 in Glasgow this November. These include 50% of rice being grown by a system of alternate wetting and drying, and 50% of farmers ploughing in stubble rather than burning by 2030. This is ambitious. The UK is undertaking the first major study of how to do the alternate wetting and drying growing of rice in Nigeria, in Kano and Jigawa states. The aim, of course, is to save water. We're working with a UK company on how to regenerate degraded land for agriculture, and we're continuing our work in Edo State on how to grow palm oil using regenerated land rather than cutting down forests. This has been successful, with many investors now coming into Edo State, and we would like to see this replicated in other states. Like other speakers, we have noted some of the impacts of COVID-19. Notably, sadly, rising food costs and food inflation. The issues are complicated. Higher input costs, especially fertiliser, damage from floods in 2020 are a factor, as farmers have less finance available to them and are worried about planting. Movement restrictions due to COVID, which are still impacting on supply chains. And, of course, the evidence that fewer farmers are planting due to concerns about security on their land. We work closely with the federal government to encourage the conditions for reducing violence and fostering better relations between communities. One final example of support to the commercialised agriculture is the UK NIAF programme, supporting the development of special agricultural processing zones, working to prepare for the disbursement of Africa development loans. But of course, this is not just for government. The private sector is a key player in seeing future agricultural development. The private sector really is at the centre of agricultural development. Harnessing foreign direct investment and foreign technology will allow Nigeria to advance further. Positive corporate behaviours from the private sector actors are also a critical part of promoting and protecting good nutrition, and these must be strengthened. This was the thinking behind the UK Africa Investment Summit in January 2020, attended by His Excellency Mr. President, ministers, governors and chief executives from 70 major Nigerian companies. We in the UK at the time supported efforts to highlight the investment opportunities in the Nigerian Agricultural Centre. And we facilitated meetings between business to encourage UK investment, but also technical expertise that can help deliver food security for the Nigerian population. So I'm particularly delighted to welcome the UK companies exhibiting here today and tomorrow, including Alvin Blanche, Commonwealth Farmers, Bankability and Agro. These are UK investors who are here with a genuine interest in investing opportunities here. Our DIT team would be pleased to follow up any expressions of interest from companies or from government, and I'm sure the CDC group will be happy to speak with companies about their development financing role. And we can also help put companies in touch with the UK Export Finance for reducing financing costs. I'd encourage everyone interested to participate in the deal room to set up to make contact between investors and companies. To conclude, we all know that a sustainable and efficient farming sector is a fundamental part of the security of Nigeria's economy and its people. Governments continue to have a key role in regulating and enabling the sector, but let's give the private sector the support it needs to create jobs and bring its expertise to bear. I give you 3 examples. Encourage the free flow of goods within and beyond Nigeria. An efficient supply chain is a crucial precondition for efficient farming and the best way to reduce the cost of food. Enable the take-up of technology. Nigeria's tech sector is already offering innovative and cost-effective ways to support farmers. And then think long-term when buying products and services. Factor in running costs and maintenance for things like machinery, solar dryers and pumps. As I mentioned, the UK has export finance facility available to support exports here, which can help bring down the cost of large ticket items. There are plenty of challenges ahead on the path to a revived economy, but I look forward to the conversation over the next 2 days as we bring forward partnerships between government and business, domestic and international, that can deliver benefits for Nigeria's citizens and for investors in the country. I wish a hugely productive and effective conference. Thank you.
Ambassador, do you mind? All right. Okay.
Her Excellency, Mrs. Atkinson, UK High Commissioner to Nigeria, His Excellency, the representative of the Governor of Delta State, the representative of Minister of Environment, the Home Minister of State of Agriculture, the Chairman House Committee on Agricultural Institutions, the representative of the development agencies, the National Chairman of the Food System Summit, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, I am at a loss because most of what I will say has already been said. Although that it is not bold enough. About 2 weeks ago, I had meetings with some young Nigerians, industrialists, involved in agricultural processing of different types. There are about 6 or 7, and I think one of them from AfDB is here. There is also some from Nigeria Flour Mills and others. And to be honest, that was one of the most heaviest of my days in the Ministry of Agriculture. Because these are young Nigerians that are involved in synergizing agriculture and the industry. And this is exactly what we need in this country. Unless we create that relationship and we make it strong and meaningful, the poverty that we are talking about is not going to go away. We may produce enough food to eat, but people will still sleep with hunger because they have no money to buy food. And the reason being, they are not engaged in gainful employment to earn money for food, for health, for education. And that is our biggest challenge. I have been saying it all along, that I appreciate there is no single seminar on agriculture that I have attended or meeting on agriculture that I have attended that the word value chain has not come across. But value chain at what level? At the micro level. Well done. We have done a lot in that regard. And we have even gained an international recognition in that regard. But that has not removed our problem of unemployed youth. And that is very, very crucial. All what we are talking about that, if we do not focus on this fundamental issue of how do we remove this army of young unemployed people and put them into gainful employment, we are doing nothing. So, the collaboration between the agricultural sector and the industrial sector is a must. Some Nigerians have taken it upon themselves and they are bold enough to go into this. And these are some of the 6 people that I told you we met. And there are others. For example, I am optimistic. In the next 2 years, we do not need to import sugar into this country, because the amount of investment made and the results that are coming within the next 2 years will meet our requirement of 1.5 million tons of sugar every year. The Dangote Group, the Lee Group, the Flour Mills Group, the Boa Group will produce sugar that we need in this country. But always, you may accuse me of repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. But you know the fundamentals? The fundamentals are in the textiles. Nigeria is one of the most overdressed countries in the world, and it has the largest market of textile in the world. We lost our bearings since 1986, when most of our textile were running 3 shifts. Today, how many of them are working? We lost 145 textile mills, and they used to be the largest employers of labor. And let me tell you, from the policy standpoint of view, if you do not correct this imbalance, you are not going to get out of the woods. We have the resources. We have everything to produce the clothes that we wear in this country. In 1982, we were exporting our textiles to European countries. And today we literally we import every textile item that we require. And people just feel nice and feel comfortable. But we are not. The way and the manner you are going to pick up these people on the street is when we get our textile on board. If we do not, we have a problem. I can tell you the value chain in the textile industry is so long and sustainable that it engages hundreds of thousands of workers. But today, no more. Please remember textile in Kaduna, Lagos, Onitsha, Kano, and others, why they run 3 shifts. Remember the generous. In a small town like Gusau, there were about 16 generous. In Puntua, there are about 5. In Zaria, there used to be BCGA, British Cotton Growers Association. You go to Gombe, you go to so many other places. The linkage is so comprehensive and is so large. But we allow this to whittle down. No country, even on a national security standpoint of view, will allow such kind of industry to collapse. Just tell me, will you ever think of Americans getting their jeans factory closed? That's a national issue. And we have to be very serious on this. Then, we talk of COVID. To a certain degree, COVID has taught us a lesson. That whether you like it or not, there will come a point that you have to internalize. You have to produce what you eat and eat what you produce. That's what COVID taught us in this country. You can imagine when the government decided on the policy on rice, people were shouting and they were saying that we are going to die of hunger because we do not import rice. Yeah. We are not against the importation of rice, but we are going against the dumping of rice in Togo, in Benin, in Niger. They don't produce rice. But rice came from China, from Thailand, from India, and dumped there. And all they are waiting, they are looking for the Nigerian market. But this country, 4 states, I tell you, 4 states can produce the rice that we will eat. The rest can produce for export. When we took a policy on that issue, today we produce the rice that we eat. Not only that, in Kano, where I came from, there are no less than 40 rice milling plants with a capacity of 100 to 400 tons per day, and they're employing people. So what are you talking about? And then you can go along all the value chain, along all the other products. We can replicate the same thing. If we want, we can turn around the textile industry. We have the people, we have the money, we can buy the technology. We have the cotton. We have everything that we can. But you know, sometimes Nigerians don't like to suffer. And probably because we got our independence on a platter of gold, there was no war. You go to our neighboring countries and see how poor they are. And you see the missed opportunities that we have. And you know how rich we are. Just go across Daura to Niger. You can go up to Zinder. Probably you will see no more than 5-6 cars up to Zinder. You came, when you are coming back, enter into Daura. From there, motorcycles, tricycle, Malway, big cars, small cars, donkeys, cows, everything. Everything is revived, and that is an economy. But the issue is misdirected, not organized. So, for a system of this that we are talking about, we have to be a little bit more serious and more bold in our approach, not only to the food system that we are talking about, but everything that contains in the agricultural sector. We have been talking, agriculture contributes 70% of the employment opportunities, 70% of the economy, everything, yes, it's true. But at what level? The potential that we have in agriculture, I bet anybody in this country is more than what you think. Virtually, you can grow everything under the trophics in this country and make money out of it. People are now making money in the agricultural sector. But that needs to be streamlined and properly placed into our system of food security and nutrition. Sometimes I get boxed down when you talk of nutrition and nutrition. Okay. You know, if you look at the standard, you go to a typical European kitchen, you will see varieties of food that you need to have a balanced diet. And that is all right for them. Does that mean a balanced diet for Nigeria? Can we afford that? But does that mean that we can't have a balanced diet that is within our own environment? We have all the ingredients, everything that we, what is educating people. This can give you the nutrition that you need, but you need to educate people, you need to teach them. Beans, moringa, hibiscus, there is what they call ungo soup or whatever they call. These are highly nutritious, to which you can be able to balance your diet at no cost. But it's within your own environment, you can grow it. But what do we do? You look at what is the error, then you have to compare, then you have a problem. Then you have a problem. So my own feeling is that it is absolutely necessary that we need to look and unlock the potential that we have in this country. I hope next year's theme will be to unlock the potentials of this country, not only in the agricultural sector, but also at other level. The African Development Bank is taking the right step for this EPC that we are going to establish. It's a welcome development. But also, we have to take it to another level, because it has to become a link and an anchor industrial revolution in this country. Otherwise, it is not going to make a meaningful impact on our economy. So, my dear brothers from the African Development Bank, you have to take note of this. It has to be, and the focus must be, as an engine for industrial revolution in this country, as it becomes in other countries. There is no question about that. Then, as I said earlier, when I was talking about this, let me tell you some information. You know, about 3 years ago, nobody was talking about Nigeria producing rice. Or 4, nobody. From nowhere, we became number 1 in Africa and 13 in the world. And not only that, believe me, we can become number 4 in the world. Because we have everything to produce rice in this country. Everything. Everything. And of course, major challenges that we face, which we have to look at them squarely, is the financial system of funding agricultural sector. Whether we like it or not, we have to reform the Bank of Agriculture because it is the only medium for reaching the farmers at the lowest level. The other thing is, if you want to industrialize meaningfully and the stable relationship between agriculture and the industry, you have to mechanize. The usual way of taking your hoe and arrow to go to the farm and the cutlass has to give way to modern way of farming. And that needs organization. And this is a program that the federal government is committed, and I can assure you, by the first week of 2022, it will take off to cover about 632 local governments, and also processing plan to cover about 140 local governments under the green imperative the federal government signed with the Brazilian government. Farmers will be in clusters. That's the first effort in organizing the farmers. And they will produce under the supervision of technical partners. And they will own the system. They will own the machinery and the equipment. The role of the federal government is simply to guarantee the loan. I am a farmer. I know what it is. A tractor, well managed, will last 25 years. A tractor can work 60 to 70,000 naira per day. This loan is going to be repaid over a period of 12 years. And you know, I work it out. You can pay it in 7 or 8 years, and you will have an asset base of over 100 million. Typical of Nigerians, very skeptical. How will it work? Well, it works in Mozambique, it's working in Ghana, it's working in Senegal, it's working in Mali. Well, we are all from the same race, and I see no difference. In fact, these people of Nigeria that you call want to be positive. They can be, but the tendency is to become negative. But please, let us be more positive, and let us look at the possibilities, not the impossibilities. Once you do that, the sky is the limit. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.